Okay. Minutes for review and approval of March 17th regular meeting. We have motion and a second.
I move we approve the minutes.
That's her.
I'll second. It's John.
Thank you. Any additions, corrections? Lacking any, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Aye.
March 17th audit committee meeting. We have a motion.
I'll move we approve that committee meeting also.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that meeting? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Sam, about our bills and communication.
Sam, before you do that, we had one more person join. Who else joined us?
Andy here.
Thank you.
Hey, Andy.
Hey.
Okay, bills and communication, Sam.
Yes. So the first bill is for the CCIDA first quarter invoice, and that is for $5,044.25. The second bill is for NYSEG at the industrial park, and that is $121.52. And there is a bill from Buffington and Houtland for the final audit bill, and that is $4,350. And then there is a bill from the Propes Group for $300.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion on our bills.
The bill for the accounting firm had an extra amount for extra time. Was that part of the agreement when we hired them?
The proposal did include a component that explained that if there are additional costs incurred due to changes in regulations or whatnot, that there could be additional fees charged. Yes.
Was this a normal thing to charge for this service?
Yes, there were changes to accounting rules that required them to go back and review all of our contracts, and it just took a little extra time for them to adjust to the new accounting rules for all of their clients. So across the board, just about everyone who did any sort of financial statement or audit was charged a little bit extra this year.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other discussion or questions on our bills? Lacking any, all in favor to pay our bills?
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Approved. Thank you. Report of the treasurer.
Yes, so on the profit and loss budget performance report, there is income generated from savings. This figure, we did not receive CD statements from the bank. I'm still waiting to receive those, so I have not been able to reconcile these CD accounts, so there's likely more interest to be added here. Then we've got income from Patterson Farms. They ended up farming, I think it was 35 acres, and that ended up being $3,150. And then on the budget report are also the bills from that we just reviewed, the CCIDA bill, the audit bill, and electric.
That it?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Second. Anybody?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion to the treasurer.
Yeah, Sam,
Second.
can we make that motion pending, correction of the interest earned?
Sure,
Proof
I can,
with the
yep, I can send out
understanding
a
that,
new budget report when those statements come in.
great.
Everybody agree with that then?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of the treasurer's report, please?
Aye.
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 Is there any opposed? Lacking any, all in favor, or approved? Thank you. Unfinished, student staff.
So lots of things going on. One thing is that, sorry, all of the things. There's so many things. So we've been, again, working a lot on helping small businesses in particular try to respond and address their revenue shortfalls right now, considering a lot of businesses are either shut down or have seen much lower sales in the last month and a half due to the different state mandates. We did get that microloan program launched. We've had over 20 applications. Currently we have approved, the executive committee has approved 8 loans. There's 2 that are outstanding for votes, and then another couple that are almost ready to go out to the group. So we're trying to move these pretty quick. Currently, we have approved over about $33,000 in loans. So the money is going, and we're trying to get it out the door into the hands of businesses as quickly as possible.
What was that amount again, please?
We have the group has approved $33,000 in loans so far.
Okay, thank you. How much do we have in the pool?
So total, we have about $112,000 in the pool.
Okay, thanks.
CCDC was kind enough to help capitalize this fund to help these businesses. They provided a loan to CCIDA to capitalize the microloan and make it more sufficient for the current need. And, you know, based on the applications that we have in so far, we are going to exhaust the entire fund and may need to look for some additional resources if we have additional applications and see additional need. Especially as we get closer to businesses starting to reopen. We know that there's going to be a need from businesses that are currently closed to stock back up once their businesses are able to reopen. So there may be an additional wave of need as we get closer to the restoration period. So that's something that we need to start thinking about sooner rather than later so that we're prepared for it. But we are still kind of making that initial response to the needs of the businesses. So that's been ongoing. The team's been working really hard and just trying to answer questions. We've been doing a lot of promotion and different activities to help promote local business and connect them to each other, working with regional partners, local and regional partners to figure out where there are opportunities to meet current needs. Just got an email today that New Age Renewable Energy down in Venice is actually producing hand sanitizer in bulk. So that's an opportunity for other businesses to potentially source hand sanitizer locally, but they're selling it in 55-gallon barrels. So it's a lot of hand sanitizer. So we're trying to find those opportunities. It was also released today that Tessie is going to be doing testing kits out of the Auburn facility, the McQuay facility. They're going to convert that apparently in the next 15 weeks to produce test kits. So our local businesses are really stepping up to try to respond to the needs right now. So lots of good news there, although it has been a rough few weeks for businesses overall. Any questions about the current COVID situation before I move on? No? So another thing we wanted to cover was the governance committee just met. This is a conversation that will continue into the next meeting. So just wanted to bring a few things to the attention of the board. Gina, did you want to summarize that? Or would you like me to?
I think you do a great job at it.
Great. So the governance committee just met and reviewed the aggregated results from the board feedback that was done in the fall. The only area that was, no one disagreed, like no one seemed to have a serious concern, but there was room for improvement, it seemed like, in terms of setting measurable performance goals for the organization. So this is something that, has come up a few years in a row. So it's a conversation that really needs to continue and get some additional attention. So we were going to add it to the agenda for next month for this meeting, but wanted to make sure that it was on your radar so that you could start thinking about it and mulling over, other than just saying we want to help 2 businesses a year with tax incentives, or that's the goal we have set right now in terms of measurable performance goals. What are the other factors that would be helpful for you as a group to have us tracking and aiming for? Is it a level of benefit? Is it the type of businesses we're helping? Is it, different? Is it geographic? So something to think about. Did Paul or Gina want to add anything to that?
Nope.
Nope, I think that sounds good. I think it's something we just need to focus a little bit more on this year.
And then the other thing that did come up was municipal engagement. And one goal that we had set as a group was to have more individuals from municipalities meetings, attend our meetings and have conversations with us about what we're doing, about what their priorities are. And we've not had a ton of success with this. We did have that one Big NYSERDA event, and we've had a couple of municipal leaders come in, but we've not been able to keep up with that goal the way we would like. And Gina had the idea that if we could create a priority list of municipalities, that if anybody on the board has existing relationships that might help us reach them a little bit better, it would be really helpful to get that assistance from the board and in making those connections where we might not have them already. So we're going to create a list of municipalities that we suspect upcoming projects for, and then we can have a conversation about the best way to reach out to them, and if anybody perhaps has a better contact with them than we might. We just had 2 people join. I suspect it's Sue and Jody. Is that right?
Yes, it is. It's
Okay.
Sue. I think it's pretty.
I'm on
pretty sure
also.
Jody joined as well too. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on.
So there's only one more thing that I wanted to cover with the CCIDA update, but we can circle back around to that, Ray, if you want to take care of the Inns of Aurora thing while we're there.
Okay. Well, why don't you go ahead? I'm sorry I didn't hear who came in.
It's Sue Edinger and Jody Bennett from the Inns of Aurora.
Okay. Hi,
Hi,
Sue.
Ray. How are
How's
you
it going?
doing?
As good as you
Well,
are.
actually, not so good. Actually, I'm going to take that back. Not so great. I'm sure you guys can appreciate the fact that
Yeah,
it's not a great time to be running any business, and certainly not our business. That's for sure.
I'll trade a farm for a hotel.
Yes, I think I think I would. I'm with you on that, Ray. That's for sure.
Okay, what can we do for you, Sue?
So what we had put in an application for, as you probably, and I think you probably have a letter there that's dated from me from April 17th, but we are looking to get an exemption from the sales tax, and Jody can go into some more of the details on this, as a way to help us. We actually applied for this before all of this COVID-19 stuff hit, but we were struggling a bit with the expense of some of these capital projects that are critical to us achieving financial sustainability for the Inns of Aurora. And I think when I talked to Tracy about different options from an economic development standpoint, one of the things I understand is important to your group is, hey, are you bringing in outside people? Is what we're doing down in Aurora attracting people from outside Cayuga County and outside the region around here? So that's why, Tracy, I think you shared with them, is that correct? Some of the numbers from us in terms of where people were coming from?
No, that hasn't gone to them yet. It went to legal counsel for the retail exemption. But basically the summary was, I believe, was it about 90%, Sue? Was that right?
Yes, that's correct. And so really, probably no surprise to all of you, especially for your overnight guests. By definition, people generally don't live in the area if they're an overnight guest. But for us, what we did is we said, let's take out Cayuga County, Onondaga County, Wayne, Seneca, Tompkins, all the surrounding counties. And then how many of our guests over the last couple of years come from outside of that region? And the answer is anywhere between 90 and 95% of our total guests. And so, we are very much an attractor into Cayuga County for people that do not live around here, and bringing tax dollars and revenue in. And then the second piece is the spa. We believe our projections show, now I'm going to hesitate a little here because given COVID-19, things are a little different. But once we get back on track again, this is going to quadruple our business over 5 years. We'll go from a little over $1.5 million, $2 million in room revenue up to about $8 million in room revenue. And so it's a $6 million increase, of which 90 to 95% is coming from out of the county. And Tracy, I think that's what you guys were saying you're looking for. Like, hey, is this attracting people outside the region, and at what volume and level? And so, Ray, that's in committee. That is why this is such an important thing for us. This is something we've worked on for a number of years. Ray's probably heard me talk about it at CCIDA meetings.
Sure.
We are 3/4 the way done with it. We're on pause right now. As you know, all the construction projects are on pause, but we anticipate opening this in 2021. But we are very challenged right now with the extreme loss of revenue we're going to have this year. So we're trying to figure out how to finish this, get it in play so that we can attract and get the business up and going again. So what questions can we answer for you? Jody's our controller. She can certainly go into any more details on the numbers if that would be helpful.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, as I mentioned to the group when I first reached out to give you a heads up on this, this is clearly a little bit different than what we would normally do. We wouldn't normally work with a project that's already underway. But given the current circumstances and the revenue that you mentioned, the revenue situation, there's certainly a changed situation that creates a need that is different from when the project started. So I just wanted to put that out there as well on the record.
Yeah, and I can't overemphasize that enough, unfortunately. And we're going to go we should be stepping into our peak season. I will tell you, we've already had 60% of our weddings have now been canceled for 2020, and I don't see an end in that. That is about $2 million worth of our business. They've already canceled and moved on because we simply can't say that we can honor those. And the governor keeps extending the 2-week extension. I suspect we're already canceled. We're already canceled through July. I think you're going to see August go the same way, and potentially September, and our season ends after that. So we are at jeopardy of losing all of our event revenue, which is a couple $1 million to us. And occupancies, we have rooms open because we're an essential business. We have 0 rooms sold for the month of May.
Wow.
And that's a month in which we should be running 70%. So that is the magnitude of the hit on businesses like ours right now. And candidly, folks don't see it getting any better in 2020. I think this is going to be a very rough year for all of us.
Well, I sure know it is for farming.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? A quick question. Is this new spa going to be on the village water and sewer?
Yes, it is. Good question. The village, it was important to the village. They don't have enough demand. They've got a lot more supply than they have demand because the village of Aurora has been shrinking. So when we built the spa, we're obviously dealing with the town of Ledyard because it's up there, but we struck an agreement with the village of Aurora and have extended the water and sewer up to there to add candidly more customers onto the system for a system that very much needed it. They need more revenue in. So we will be paying 1.5 times the rate of a village resident for water and sewer because we have an out-of-district, expense. But we did it because we candidly want to be good community neighbors, and we think it's a good system.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is John. Can I just, 2 questions. Question 1, did we already extend any benefits to this project?
No, there have not been any.
None? Okay. And then am I understanding correctly, you're just looking for a sales tax exemption and the benefit is $100,000?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Jody, do you want
to? Yes, we're kind of earmarking most of that towards the furniture and fixtures purchases we have to make, and then there'll be a little left over for more of the building materials side of it, but it will at least cover that and make a huge impact.
So using standard calculations, you're expecting $100,000 exemption. That's what you're asking for.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have to hold a public hearing on this?
No. No, there's no public hearing required for a $100,000 benefit.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Any other? Yep. And if you do have some afterwards or there's discussion, we're happy. Tracy, feel free to if there's more discussion and you guys, the group wants to talk without us here, we're happy to give you some time. You can always call me back, or I'm happy to field any questions afterwards.
Well, let's see.
Okay.
But again, I think we were, for us, for the Inns of Aurora, you couldn't have imagined 5 weeks ago that we would be in the position we're in.
Or anybody else.
To us, or anybody else, but this is certainly critical to us climbing out next year once this is up and going. I think a spa and the ability to attract in is going to be even more important than it might have been in the past for us to be able to climb back out and get the business going again. So I appreciate your consideration on this. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and let us know. And thanks for taking the time to take a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tracy. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ray, did you want to consider the resolution?
Is there a motion to move forward?
Let me ask a question. Has Rick okayed this, and do we need any legal definitions on this thing?
This went through Hair Speech.
It did go through Hair Speech?
Yeah, it went through Justin Miller at Harris Beach,
Okay,
and he prepared the resolution.
thank you.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Zandy?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion, questions? Sam, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Mr. Lockwood,
Yes.
Mr. Lattimore,
Yes.
Mr. Ladnishin,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Reluctantly, yes.
Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Rindfleisch,
Oh, yes.
Ms. Spino.
Yeah.
All voting in favor? Approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Trace?
So the last thing I wanted to circle back to under our report was, so Duke got back to me with another offer in terms of the pilot amount, the per megawatt amount of their pilot agreement that they are requesting for their solar project. They are looking for a 20-year pilot with he's now offering a $2,000 per megawatt price per year with a 1.5% escalator. That is still, it's higher than they originally offered. It is still lower than what we're kind of seeing throughout the region. So I just wanted to run that by you, but they're between the, they have an agreement with the town. They're working on an agreement, a host benefit agreement with the town. And between that and this, they're saying that that's probably where they can land. I went back and forth with him a couple of times, but this is what he's thinking is going to be the highest offer that they can, or the highest amount that they can afford for that project. I just wanted to get some feedback before we move forward and doing a public hearing and what the group thought on that amount.
They would be paying less than the one that we just approved in Ledger.
Yes, it would be smaller. It would be less than that.
I would be
That's a little more
reluctant. I would be reluctant to have a different scale for them.
Okay,
I
so
agree.
you want
We
to
gotta be
just
consistent.
be consistent? Okay, I'll let them know.
I agree too.
Okay.
Where was this project going to be?
This one I think was in Scipio, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right, Sam?
Yeah, and if it's not viable, it's not viable.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Have we heard of any involvement with the one up in Conquest?
I've gotten a couple, like, just preliminary outreach from, like, Mike Nizzolio reached out, and he's working with that developer, but I still do not have an application from them.
I talked to Mr. Waterman over the weekend, and he said that the project has been presented to the state, and I'm not sure whether he said it was approved by the state or accepted by the state. So I think they're under motion to try to do this. He had no idea of the involvement with the tax exemption on it. It would need that to go through, would it not?
Well, they could do it without the exemption.
Yeah, if it worked for them to do it without, then I guess, but we're finding that that's generally not the case.
The guy who spoke from the Ledger project said that none of those were viable without a tax exemption.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think it would be.
But that's their business.
But isn't it the state's pushing that one, isn't it?
Yeah, so maybe if the state is incentivizing it at a level that makes up the difference, it's hard to say until we have an application in front of us.
Sure.
So it's information only, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I will follow up with Bob Duke, and then that rounds out that piece of this. And then it does look like, you might recall last month we talked, Cayuga Milk Ingredients is pursuing some additional financing for additional equipment. Is getting some additional financing for some new equipment, and it looks like that financing is going to probably close this week. So just an update on that it's moving forward. But I think that's
anything on the sewer issues?
On the
sewer issues?
We're still waiting to hear from DEC on the preliminary engineering.
I heard
it don't look
Mr.
like we're
Ellis,
going to be able to get that done then.
It would be hard at this point to do it this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard Mr. Ellis was crying about how this has affected their business. Are we going to get involved with their extra sewer charge again?
No one's reached out to me about it.
Okay.
They thought that they would be building by late summer, didn't they, Trace?
Yeah, they were going to be moving forward with getting that new equipment in. It's going to take a little while to actually, there's a pretty long lead time on it. So they've got a little bit of time before it's going to be up and running, but yeah, they're looking to get things situated for that this year.
That may be hampered again with the construction being shut down.
Could be, although essential businesses are allowed to continue, well, not new construction. So yeah, they might have a hard time getting that started until the pause ends. But for food production, they might be okay. They might be able to get that to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last I spoke with them, but that was just a little bit ahead of it, this disaster.
Yeah, everything's going to be more complicated because even if they can get the construction going, there's certain rules and regulations around construction right now that make things move a little slower. So it's a challenge.
Yeah, everything.
But in good news, they did let boat launches open for recreational purposes.
And golf courses.
And golf courses. Golf courses
apparently
have employees, though.
That shows who has the juice.
Boaters and golfers.
Yep. I'm sure there was a few politicians that wrote letters to the governor.
No, but that was the marinas is a big thing for the northern part of the county. They were glad to get that news.
Speaking of the area there, behind Home Depot and Grover and that, we have that driveway that goes back toward the city of Auburn. Who owns that driveway, the IDA or Cayuga County?
The IDA.
Well,
it's the sewer line runs underneath it, though.
Yeah.
So there's an easement.
Sewer line's right in the center of it, then.
Well, there's a 3-foot culvert down closer to the city, and that culvert is completely broken, and there's a great big sinkhole. We threw some gabions in there kind of to hold it. We actually got a little bit of a pile on top of it right now, but that culvert's probably got to be replaced, and I don't know what, I mean, I know the county highway department is, I mean, we go down there, that's how we found it, but the other issue is that there's probably about 2 truckloads of garbage down in there.
Again?
Great dumping area for the city of Auburn.
We just cleaned it.
Yeah, we've had that problem in the past.
Yeah, we cleaned it up
somehow,
like a year and a half ago, but.
Is it something the weekend warriors can do, Ben?
What's that?
Is it something that the weekend warriors from the jail could do?
Weekend warriors are out of business right now.
Oh, they are too?
When they get back. Yeah. I know the county highway department has cleaned up a lot of garbage down there over the years, and they're the ones that actually found that big sinkhole. But it'd be probably good if somebody wanted to go down there with me and take a look and see what we could do or whatever. But it would be also nice probably to block that off so people can't be going down there, because the garbage will just.
We talked about that.
Didn't we put some gates up someplace?
No, we talked about putting gates up, but the gates were getting knocked over before.
Yep.
Like there were gates before that got knocked over. I don't know the gates are going to be an effective way of keeping people out of there.
We put a gate back up, like kind of just stood it up where the pile of stone is, and so now we got another set of mattress and box springs right in front of the gate. So, it would be nice.
Give me a call, Ben. Give me a call, Ben. I can meet you over there.
Yeah, all right. And we can reach out to Soil and Water and see if they can go take a look at it, the culvert, and then when we got it cleaned up. Sam, were you involved in that when we cleaned it up last time?
Yeah.
We can look at trying to arrange something again the way we did last time.
Okay.
Want me to have Doug join us, Tracy?
Yeah, if Doug wants to go out with you, that would be a good way to just see if they're able to do any of that work.
Give me a call, Ben, and I'll get a hold of Doug and I'll meet us out there.
All right.
Be safe,
Next
though.
Rainy day. I'm not going to do it on a nice day.
Yeah,
stay 6 feet apart from each other.
Let's put the snowplow back on the pickup tomorrow, and I'll meet you there.
Don't go there, Ray.
Yeah. I don't want to get my corn in.
Yep.
Yeah, give me a call when you're around. I'll have Doug meet us there.
All right.
Okay.
What do you got next, Trace? Finance Committee?
Finance Committee met last month, or I think this was supposed to say Governance Committee. I think it was just a typo. Did Finance Committee meet, Sam?
Last month.
Finance Committee met. It's the Finance/Audit Committee.
Yeah. So they met with the auditor last month. Is there anything that they wanted to add to report to what Elaine presented last month?
No, we haven't done anything since last month with that.
No.
Yeah.
No, but that was on the agenda.
Okay. And then events, we don't have any in-person events because, we're not allowed to. But we are doing some virtual networking sessions. If you keep an eye on the Chamber's event page, we're also doing some webinars and virtual educational seminars for businesses and nonprofits. Oasis is going to do a webinar about the recovery tax credit, since businesses are looking for anything they can right now. This wouldn't, hit them until tax season, but it is something that they could look at to reduce their liabilities for this year if they can get a tax credit under the recovery tax credit. So the state is pushing that out. So one of their representatives is going to do a webinar about that program and how businesses can participate and potentially get a refundable credit for hiring individuals in recovery from substance abuse issues. So That's coming up. Not Sam, Jessica is also doing some good educational seminars for nonprofits around marketing and promotion and fundraising in the new virtual age. So those are coming up periodically as well. So just keep an eye on the events page and you'll see those.
Anything else? Do we need an executive session?
Not that I'm aware of.
Rick says no. How's your restaurant coming, Rick?
Well, we're getting there, May 1st.
Good. Wish you luck.
Thank you.
May 1st.
Any other food? What's that take? Any further business?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you. Hopefully
Bye.
next month we'll be in person.